Hey friends, it's Suzy Lolley. If you are joining me for the first time, welcome to our 17th Tech Tuesday plus 12 Tech Misses. Y'all, that means next week is going to be episode number 30. Thank you so much for being so faithful. Those of you who have been tuning in week after week. And for those of you who are brand new, welcome, welcome. I just want to show you, this is my face on Facebook. At this point, I have not been able to figure out a way to show me plus what I want to teach you. So you'll just have to look at this picture of my face. Sorry, it's up close. But anyway, I blog over at SuzyLolley.com. So if you're interested in seeing the accompanying blog posts or getting my resources, I'm going to share more about that at the end. If you will go follow me at SuzyLolley.com, okay? So Lolley is where you can find me, and I blog every Wednesday about what I talk about on Tuesday. And so you're going to get articles, you're going to get videos that go along with what I share. So go follow me over there. I would absolutely love that. And if you're on Twitter, you can also follow me. Just add an @ symbol at Suzy Lolley, okay? That's SuzyLolley.com. I would love to see you over there. So what are we talking about tonight? We are talking about quizzes that can't be Googled, okay? Let's just talk. The culture of cheating has always been around, okay? People from the time I remember probably my earliest temptation to cheat being in middle school when I, just tried to look around when the teacher wasn't looking and see if I could see my friend's paper. The good news is I could not see her paper, so I really didn't cheat. But, kids copying homework, kids having, a wadded up piece of paper, kids writing notes on the inside of their arms, from whenever. Kids have known how to cheat. It's just the way that it is. Electronic grading, I think, makes teachers even more nervous because they feel like that kids can cheat even easier. It's no longer, let me hide this piece of paper that the teacher might find, or she might see what's written on my arm. But now it's, let me just quickly switch over to another tab and Google that. So our goal really has to be changing the structure of the quiz itself. So tonight's topic is, not what can we do to prevent quizzing, like physically prevent it, but what can we do so that really Googling things does not make them any easier to find? I know like our district is rolling out a lockdown browser this year, which is fabulous, or next year, excuse me. Y'all, I can't talk tonight. And the reason I'm late, I forgot to say that, is because we were out getting a bunch of flooring for our house. We're doing a huge remodel. So I was out getting flooring. So sorry I'm late. And so now I just can't talk. I'm crazy. But our district is rolling out a lockdown browser next year. That will do a lot to prevent cheating, okay? Having students, as I've recommended before when I've talked about quizzing on here, have them lay their phones flat on their desk so you can see what they're doing. They're not doing any kind of sneaky, let me hold this in my lap type thing. Or, giving a time limit on the quiz. I've talked about that before too. If you've got a 5-question quiz, there is no reason that even a special education student who has time and a half needs 30 minutes. Okay, it's 5 questions. I'm giving everybody 10. You get time and a half, so that's 15. Okay, we're moving on. So you can do all of that, but what about changing, like I said, the structure of the quiz itself? What about allowing students the opportunity to show what they know, but reducing even their temptation to cheat, because they know that whatever answer they were to look up, it's not really going to help them on the type of quiz you've created. Now, I know what you're thinking, Suzy. I'm not pie in the sky. I know you're thinking, well, I need to be thorough and I need to do higher order critical thinking type things, but I've got to get this stuff graded. And if I ask things that aren't searchable, aren't Googleable, am I really going to be able to grade those? Well, have I got an idea for you? I've actually got 3 ideas for you tonight. So let's go ahead and get started. Number 1, and I used this when I taught 8th grade, and I'm using the example of the Odyssey to show you the concept, but when I did this with 8th grade, it's just whatever book we were reading, whatever story we were reading, I used what was called a personal dictionary. So this is just an example of one way you could set it up, is the Odyssey personal dictionary. I had them fill in the word, fill in the book number, page number, or in the Odyssey it would have been line number, copy that line, guess the definition, look up the definition, and then they don't have to illustrate all of them because I know some kids don't get a kick out of that, some do, but add 5 illustrations total. So I think I had, 20 words that they were to look up. Why would I do a personal dictionary to begin with? And then I'm going to talk about how this lends itself to a quiz. Just stay with me. But why would I do a personal dictionary? Well, I was good at vocabulary. I remember in my, let me try to remember, my 11th grade lit class, which was Brit Lit because I was on the advanced track. So in my 11th grade lit class, our teacher, who was very sweet, would give us a random list of words every week. And I remember one of the weeks being like architectural terms. I have never in my whole life seen but maybe 2 of those terms again. Okay, maybe cupola or something like that. But there were all these words that I would totally forget to study for. I would come into the class, I'd be like, oh crap, we have a vocab quiz. And I would study them for 5 minutes before the quiz or 10 minutes and then do just fine on the quiz. But there was no retention. Maybe I knew some of those words. So when you give students a predetermined list that you choose, they may not find value. They might already know the words, and they're certainly not making any kind of connection that would allow for long-term retention. So a personal dictionary solves those issues. The students write down words they don't know from your text. They define them, they look them up. But here's how that translates to a quiz. I'm just going to show you a generic Frayer model. I obviously didn't make this website. Worksheet works. But you guys, I'm sure if you've been around for a while, are very familiar with the Frayer model. Let me see if I can get that any bigger. Let's just say create worksheet. Worksheet works is really cool, by the way, for a lot of different things, okay? I'm going to have to download it. Give it a minute. But a Frayer model allows for a lot of the same things I said. What are the definitions, examples, non-examples? But here's what's so cool. I would tell my kids, I'm like, you need to have your 20 words done because I'm going to be quizzing you on Friday. And they would say, how are you going to give us a quiz on all our words? And of course I would say I'm magic. Okay. I always convince my children that I have magical powers. But what I would do is on that Friday for the quiz, they would have a 2-sided Frayer diagram. On one side, they would do one word from their personal dictionary. On the other side, they would do another word from their personal dictionary. Okay. And I would tell them they needed to at least know what words were on there, or a couple of them, they need to be familiar with. Or you could say, you know what, you can hold on to your personal dictionary for a minute. Everybody write down 2 words. You tell them that before you give them the Frayer model. And then their test is this: 2-sided Frayer model. They fill out the word. They fill out the definition. Each side is 50 points. Now, to make it really easy on yourself, look, there are 5 parts to this Frayer model. If they just write the word, they get 10 points. So they fill it out, and then all you have to do quickly, because remember, we're trying to find a balance between being thorough and using higher order and then being efficient. So you very quickly just run through, and most of the words that an 8th grader, 9th grader doesn't know, you know them. So you can flip through and say, yep, that would make sense, that would make sense, that would make sense. And you're grading so quickly, you're assessing on something that's applicable to them, and this is not something they can Google, okay? There's idea number 1. Idea number 2, and I want to tell you too, I'm providing all these resources to anyone who subscribes to my blog tonight. You can tell me that you subscribe and I will send you all these resources, okay? So that's the Frayer model. That is one way you can use personal dictionary to do a non-Googleable quiz. The second way, and I've talked about this lady before, but her name is laurarandazzo.com, or her name is Laura Randazzo. Her website is laurarandazzo.com. Laura Randazzo is someone that I have bought resources from several times. I bought like a Huck Finn resource from her. So I'm just going to click on Huck Finn here. Do, 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 do. Okay, sorry, I have to sing along. Huck Finn, where are you? Oh, Huck Finn may not be on here, but that's okay. Can we say Quizzer? I did not look this up. That was a bad girl. Okay, that's fine. Laura Randazzo is someone who does teaching resources, and she talks about, and I've shared this on an episode before, but she talks about using 1-question quizzers. So for example, I bought her Huck Finn unit, and I probably can search that up here. So I'll try to search while you're watching. Okay, this is going to be so tacky. But I bought her Huck Finn unit, and what she did was she gave you 3 different 1-question quizzers for that unit, and you could use them with 3 different classes. Okay, it was exactly what it sounds like. It's 1 question. The kids would answer that 1 question as their quiz. Okay, and it's probably this one right here. And based on that answer, I could really easily assess whether they knew it or not. So quit grading. But here's why it's not Googleable. Because the question was specific. It was not something you would necessarily find in SparkNotes. But also, you were able to, so here's the website if you want it, I'll add this to my resource folder, but you were able to also switch up the question per class. So again, we're talking about preventing, but also being thorough, also being efficient. So with the 1-question quizzer, I only gave them a few minutes to answer it, like maybe 3 minutes. If a kid's taking longer than 3 minutes to answer one question, they did not read the book. Sitting there staring at it longer will not help them, and it will not help you. And it's going to, again, increase that temptation to cheat. So a second way to prevent quizzes that are Googleable is to give a one-question quizzer with a time limit. Okay, so some of her resources are here. I will add this to my folder. As a matter of fact, I'll drag it down right now. Bonus tip, if you did not know that you could add a website to a folder, you just come over here to where you see the icon. Sometimes the icon is something that relates to their website. In this case, it's just a lock. Watch me. I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to hover over my folders, and I want to put this in the folder that says Tech Tuesday. I just keep hovering, and then that folder opens. And look, friends, now you're going to have that link exactly to her one-question quizzer. Okay, you ready for my last tip? So my last type of non-Googleable quizzes, and this is the kind of quiz I gave all the time on reading in my class, okay? You can adapt this. This could be good for social studies or science, anything where they had to do some kind of a textbook study and you want to quiz on it the next day, okay? We read the novel Speak when I taught 9th grade, and I had a quiz where it was very easy for me to check and the students to check because answers went over here, questions were over to the right. So for example, I turn around, it's blank, my ex-best friend. This was a girl who suffered through brownies with me, who taught me how to swim, who understood about my parents, who didn't make fun of my bedroom. If someone has read this, they know who that character is. Who is the character who was her best friend, who she spent time with all the time? They would know this, but this is not a question that you could just go search for really fast. It's in context, okay? This was the very first chapter, so it was a lot of who is this person. Here's another one. I plunge my hand to the bottom of the globe and fish up my paper. Blank. It's too easy. I learned how to draw that in 2nd grade. Again, if they tried to quickly Google that, they wouldn't even know what they were looking for. They had to have read the book to know that she has pulled out, I think it was tree, y'all. It's been a couple years since I taught this, so if you've taught it, you can leave me a comment. But I think tree is what she was supposed to draw. If they had not read this, they would have no idea even what the question was asking. I've worded it in such a way that it's involving context, but it's very easy for them to answer, very easy for me to grade. So they would answer these, they would flip them over, and then to make it even more efficient, I had them fold their papers in half and we checked the left side, okay? We would run down, check that really quickly. I always had them drop their pencils on the floor. I wanted to hear them hit the ground. We'll talk about that more in a future episode. And then they could pick up a highlighter, a pen, or trade with somebody so that they were not writing in the same ink they had used on the right side. What's the point of that? Because they can't go erase their answers. Okay, friends? So another thing I did was, Speak was an easier novel, but when I taught Great Expectations, I did the same layout on the quiz. But for Great Expectations, I gave them some buzzwords that if they were reading the night before, I just wrote down some names, know these people, know these events, like, okay, there's a bunch of people, and then what was the false story Pip tells about Miss Havisham? What did the 1-pound notes have to do with anything? I give them just a few keywords to keep them on track. And then the quiz I gave them the next day would relate to those concepts. So for a more difficult novel, you can add that scaffolding of here are some keywords and be prepared to discuss these after the quiz. Okay, so I even gave them a spot to make notes, and then that was fine if they wanted to use that on the quiz the next day. It was me tricking them into reading and studying, okay? So I want to get to the bottom line. If you are expecting your students not to cheat, you're expecting a lot of them, especially the younger they are with that underdeveloped moral compass. They should not cheat, absolutely. Will they use opportunities if they're presented? Probably. So whether you're quizzing electronically or on paper, if I were teaching now, a lot more of these things would be electronic than just on paper. But, and excuse me, there comes my puppy dog. She always busts through the door. You can hear that. But the bottom line is not, that they won't cheat, but let's give them opportunities where that's even removed from their realm of possibility. Let's make that personal dictionary quiz, or let's make that 1-question quizzer with a time limit, or let's do this fill in the blank in context quiz where it's more about thinking, but it's still manageable for us to grade. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in tonight. If you go subscribe to my blog, SuzyLolley.com, I will be happy to send you a resource folder that has an example of all these items in it and the 2 links I shared that I did not develop. Also, on my Teachers Pay Teachers store, which is linked from my blog, you can find a copy of my whole unit for the Book Thief. And for the Book Thief, I created quizzes plus about 5 other activities that all have this same template. Really easy to grade, really easy to complete. Hope you guys have a great night, and I will see you next Tech Tuesday. Hey, Anna, Susan, and Beth, talk to you soon.